I'm Rob Burge. I'm principal here at EPHS, and tonight I get to talk with you about Eagle Voice and student voice and crowdsourced innovation, some of our favorite topics here at EPHS. And I start this presentation kind of like we do all of our presentations with the three questions that we try to center our work in. And we really try to think about our work as students being able to answer, that all of our work comes down to students being able to answer yes to these questions. And tonight's topic definitely is one of our strategies toward that. Of the first question is the most important question of, do I belong here? Second question of, is this meaningful? And the third question of, can I do this? And we think it's easy in big organizations and in complex organizations to get distracted by a lot of different goals or initiatives or metrics or aspirations. So we try to essentialize them into these three questions. And I have two people with me tonight from EPHS. Meg Bennett and Victor Johnson are sitting at the same table as me, two of our associate principals that are going to help us facilitate tonight. And then I'm asking them to briefly introduce themselves to you as we get started here. Here they are.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Glad to be here tonight. Again, my name is Victor Johnson. I'm one of the associate principals at Eden Prairie High School. A lot of the work I do at the high school is around instructional excellence work, looking at professional development. Those are two big passion areas of mine. I love Eagle Voice. I was introduced to this idea about 3.5 years ago when I actually didn't know Rob Virgin. I was reading one of our local publications on educational leadership and read an article about Eagle Voice, thought it was a really cool idea. And now I'm here getting to partake in this. Best part about Eagle Voice to me is just seeing ideas come through. I legit wake up excited every morning to log into our platform and see what new ideas are out there. It's really fun and it's really cool to see. So welcome everybody, and looking forward to the rest of our evening.
Good evening, everyone. Meg Bennett, nice to be with you tonight. So some of my main responsibilities here at the high school is I get the opportunity to work directly with our student support team, including special education and working with our multilingual language learners. With Eagle Voice, I've had the opportunity to partner with Rob for the last almost 4 years, I think, and Miss Daniels around Eagle Voice. And I am very passionate about Eagle Voice because it is a platform in which we get the opportunity to hear from many of our students in a way that we don't always get the opportunity day in and day out at our school. And it provides a way for us to see, kind of live in the life of our students and see their different perspectives of the ideas they bring forward. And then we get to partner with them and work with them to design and think about how to make their idea come to life. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm super excited for you to experience it tonight yourself.
Nice. All right. Thanks, Megan, Victor. So as we work towards influencing the yes around those three questions, student voice, as Victor and Meg talked about, is a huge part of our strategy towards students being able to say yes to those three questions. And we think about student voice, it's kind of a catchy term right now in education in a lot of spaces. And we try to think about this in kind of simpler forms of what do we mean by that? And we start that by listening to students' ideas. I think that there's not much more valuable that we can do for a teen than to actually slow down and listen to them and show them that we truly authentically believe that they have good ideas and that what they say matters. As we do that, we build empathy and we understand our students' stories and we understand the assets that they bring to our school, ultimately so that we can transform the experience. And we want to qualitatively have this high school experience feel unlike anything else that students have had, just to have it be an amazing experience that they're just set up for success for whatever it is they want to do next. In student voice, we can get a little academic on you here for a second. We've got this ladder of youth participation that has 8 distinct steps. And, there's not like anything super magical about this, but it does help us conceptualize of, okay, we want youth to participate in the decision-making. We want them to participate in the leadership of our school. It gives us a framework to think about, okay, what kind of participation are we in here? And I think too often we found ourselves and other organizations being lower and toward non-participation. And we think Eagle Voice, when done well, pushes us towards higher degrees of participation. So Eagle Voice is really just one strategy within a larger student voice and agency strategy, but we think it works closer to the top end of Hart's ladder. So why Eagle Voice? This is a question I'm asked quite a bit. We are asked that we started this is my 4th year as principal, and we ran an event my first fall with our staff. And staff are still, we run our staff and student events now at the same time, where staff submit ideas to improve their school. And then we transitioned that, or transfer that to students the next year. And it's not uncommon that I receive questions from colleagues across our district, across our state, across our country that will say, how is it that you have a website that any student can submit any idea that they want, and that you commit on the front end to that you're going to implement whatever they think is most popular before you even know what the ideas are. And really underneath all that is a few assumptions that we have. And the first one is, and we really trust our students. We think our students want to do the right thing, and they prove to us over and over again that they do the right thing. We also know that our students have really good ideas, and practically we want to hear those. I think the bigger why, though, in that is the cultural why. We want this to be a place where kids can feel like, yeah, my ideas are valued here. I'm seen here. I feel like what I have to say matters. And we know all that's supported through better academic outcomes, through better engagement. But ultimately, what we see Eagle Voice as is really a crowdsourced really a cultural strategy. So here's some specific, benefits that we see that go beyond that make that a little bit more precise. We know when we crowdsource that each of us experiences our school in different ways. So last week we talked with our staff about this, and the way I kind of described it to our staff for them is, each of us park at a different spot in the school. We enter through, different doors. We go to different classrooms and offices. We interact with different students, different families, and all of those experiences add up to unique insights that we could provide. And that's regardless of your role or how long you've been here, whether you're a 9th grader or a 40-year teacher, or support staff or teaching staff. Everybody experiences our school in unique ways and has great ideas for that. I also know that new ideas need structures, that, kind of the what if thinking is great, but sometimes we need a little bit of structure around that. I love the leadership opportunities that Eagle Voice provides. Tomorrow during our flex time, I'll be meeting with a group of students that are guiding our student event. They're deciding how we promote it, what questions we're asking. Eventually, they'll help us decide which ideas to implement. And that's an open invitation. So if your student ever wants to join, it's most Tuesdays during Flex. I made it on EP Updates, our daily announcements today, that anybody can join. And tomorrow's plug is wearing an Eagle Voice t-shirt tonight. So if you join tomorrow's meeting, you get a free shirt out of the deal. It also helps us prioritize ideas, because as you'll see tonight, we get some data on what's most important. And then lastly, that culture of empowerment. Eagle Voice, this is going to be our 3rd year with students and 4th year with staff. And we're selecting ideas right now, or harvesting ideas right now. But we started this website, this showcase that we shared with students last week. And we think it's pretty cool. It's a scrappy startup of a website. It has 37 projects that we have either implemented or developing, or one that we've discontinued. And it gives you just brief, summaries of where we're at with those. And you can see some of them, like snow removal from the sidewalk, pretty basic idea, but it did lift up for us as a large staff of 350 people of not all of our sidewalks were getting, cleared at the same rate. To larger things like registration rush, which is how our students select their courses, and then how the courses our students select that decides how we staff our entire building. So that was a big shift for us. Again, some structural stuff like new signs for the PAC, to internal stuff like how do we know we're not scheduling field trips on the same time, to something really bigger about the teaching and learning experience. Our PLCs, those are our collaborative groups that our teachers are organized in, and they meet with every week. And we have an idea this year that allowed them to change how they structure their goals. So it's really anywhere from the physical plant to kind of the intellectual property. to the courses that are offered. It really goes all over the map, from big to small, from expensive to free. And I think that's all ideas start a conversation, and we appreciate all those. And we created this website for a couple of reasons. One, we've heard from our students that they wonder what happens to some of the ideas. And sometimes we think there's more implementing happening than is visible, because it's a noisy world out there. So we created it for that. Eventually, we want this to be kind of a dynamic place where members from our community, members from our staff, members from our student body could go in, click the update, and then give another idea, or sign up to join a team, or give feedback on it. So a place where people will be interacting. So pretty excited about that website for this year. So tonight we're going to get a chance to hear your ideas. I'm going to introduce our project partner, Kristen Daniels, in just a minute. But I want to give you an update on where your kids are at with this. We're in about a month long, kind of from MEA, when we return from MEA break until we break for Thanksgiving, is when students are able to log in and submit an idea. One of the things I like about this student voice strategy is it really lowers the barrier, or eliminates a lot of barriers, and really flattens kind of the playing field of, you don't have to try out to submit an idea. You don't have to be elected student council president, or be a certain grade, or pay a certain fee. Any student can submit any idea, and they got a month to do so. Then we'll take about a week with the guiding team to figure out which ideas move forward to chip voting. We'll use the likes that kids give in that month window as an indicator for that. And then for those couple of weeks in December leading up to winter break, students prioritize the ideas for us by chip voting, which is new this year. And then in second semester, we will test and pilot our top ideas. So all of that happens, from October, for about a 2-month time period there. We're going to do those 2 months here in about the next half hour. And that's the fun part of this simulation. So I'm going to start by showing you how to submit an idea, and then Kristen's going to show you how to log into the site. So as you're submitting ideas, here's a couple of tips we give our students. We try to bring the 3 questions back to them of, hey, here's really what we're about, is we want kids to have a sense of belonging. We want them to feel like what they're doing matters to them, that this work is important, and we want them to have a high level of self-efficacy, that they really believe in themselves. So if you have ideas that come to mind that could help us influence the yes in one of those areas, those would be particularly attractive. We also encourage you, when you're submitting ideas, think both big and small. Don't worry about like what something would cost, or don't worry about that this would only, improve a couple students' lives. All of it are ideas we want to see, and we don't expect perfect ideas. We want what we call a bias toward action. Be generative in your thoughts. We'd like to tell our students, think more about what we should start doing versus what we should stop doing, and try to avoid the personal. If it includes an individual name or anything like that, we try to keep our culture a little kind of keeps our what if culture going if we avoid isolating to one person. So those are all tips that I'll show you again here in just a second. But check this out. Here's how simple it is to submit an idea. Soon you'll get a link so that you can log into this. You click this submit an idea button, and you can also browse what other people in tonight's meeting are submitting. You enter a title. So my moonshot idea, what I would love is if every student and parent submitted an idea. I think our school would be in a significantly better spot if we were able to create structures for that. And then what is your idea? So in this case, it's the same as the title. And then you submit it, and the submission's complete, and there it is. And you could go through and browse other people's ideas as we go tonight. So it's really that kind of straightforward. We'll have a period of time where you can do that, and then we'll have a chance to chip vote tonight. But Kristen Daniels is an expert in crowd-based innovation with schools, has worked with schools all over the country, and first met her at a conference on education innovation. And she's been our project partner on this. We're happy to work with her and her as the founder of a new company, Catapult Ed. And she's actually with us tonight to make sure that we facilitate this right. So I'm going to turn it over to Kristen.
Thanks, Rob. And thanks everyone for being here tonight. Super excited. Eagle Voice is absolutely one of my favorite events. And, Eden Prairie High School does such a great job of sort of iterating the process every year. And I'm always excited when they do that. So it's a fun time of year. So Rob, can you advance to the next slide, please? So the first thing I'll mention is that the site is actually public. What that means is that if you go to the site that I'm going to put in the link in the chat right now, you can actually see the site and view ideas. But in order to participate, you do need to register, and it's a simple email link and process. So if you go to the upper right-hand corner of the screen, click the little avatar, and then click login, and then a screen will pop up that says login or register. You're going to click on the register button, and then you'll see that middle box there. And then you're just going to put your email address, and then you check your email and click a link to finish that registration. Once you do that, you can return to the site. And as Rob mentioned, our goal tonight is just to really get you to experience that platform, and so that you can have a conversation with your kids, tell them that you have been on the platform, have a little bit of experience of what they're experiencing with Eagle Voice, and then just to really authentically share some ideas. So I think, Rob, the next slide is okay. So if you guys want to click on that link that I put in the chat and get registered, I think we're going to take time to have you log in and share some ideas. And then one thing to just reiterate, I think Rob mentioned it, but not only can you share your ideas, but read through other ideas, and commenting is turned on, so you can comment. Part of the thing that I actually work with schools and districts on is the commenting can be such a rich feature, because Rob could share an idea, but I might have a different experience or a different perspective. So when I comment and share insight, or maybe connect to a resource, it's really, really helpful and rich. And it's one of my favorite things when participants really get engaged with that commenting. So feel free to try that out. And then Rob, do you want me to talk about chip voting now, or should we wait for that?
Maybe like a quick preview, and then we'll come back to it, just so people have the end in mind.
Okay. One of the options we have when we talk about sort of prioritizing ideas as they come in, the platform is really flexible in that, there's a number of ways where Eagle Voice, the crowd basically prioritizes the top ideas or things that they want to see move forward. One is just simple voting, just like simply promoting an idea with an upvote. But chip voting is a little bit more discretionary, and it's kind of fun because it's not, you don't have endless upvotes. You just, have like 10 votes. And I think we're doing chip voting with 20 chips. Is that right, Rob? Yeah. You're muted. Yeah.
We're thinking like 20, but it's kind of going to depend on how many ideas we get. I wasn't expecting 100 ideas already. Last year's event, we had 97 total. So we've got 2 weeks to go and we're already there. So I don't know, maybe we'll do 25. That's a great example of something that we'll just take the lead from students on, whatever they, think is appropriate. And however many ideas they feel like we should move forward with to the voting is a good decision for them to make. We'll also have them help us merge ideas. So as you can imagine, a lot of our students have similar ideas, or they're working on a similar problem. And so something we've had in the past with our kind of binary upvoting is we've had some ideas that are the same, kind of competing with each other. So what we'll do this year is, if the idea is more flex time, which we saw a bunch of those ideas come in today, we'll merge all those ideas. So all those students will become, the idea champions together on that. And then we'll get kind of just cleaner data of, okay, how big of a need or interest is more flex time among our students. So we think those are all, though this is our third year with students, it is a different event at the same time.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about quick wins, Rob? I think that's such a great benefit of the process, and it really sort of shows that you're listening, and I love just the idea of that.
For sure. Good idea. So something we've done here, and we actually did it our first year with staff, is did this like idea of a quick win of like saw an idea and it was like, okay, we know you have 3 more weeks to submit. We have a month long voting. And then we said, we're going to, design this and, implement it and test it second semester. But we were like, wait, we could just do that tomorrow. And it was an idea on more staff coming to our student events. So with a staff ID that they could, receive admission. We were like, well, that's a good thing. We can do that. Let's do it now. And the reason we did this strategy initially was we were trying to, demonstrate to our staff of like, hey, this thing's for real. Like, this isn't just, some suggestion box that just went online and that no one's going to pay attention to. Like, we're watching this thing. And so we did that, to gain more ideas really, but it's now something that we just do. So our leadership team monitors the site every day, as Victor mentioned, and there's a couple benefits to that. So one is we look for quick wins, or we also look for immediate urgent problems. We had a student submit an idea around having space for prayer, and to us, that's not something that the crowd should validate. That's something we should be working with individual students and families on to make sure that that need is met, and not something we should wait to see how many votes or chips it gets and watch this whole design process play out. So we monitor for that reason. We also monitor, so we had a few students submit ideas relating to our commencement ceremony around chords or tassels or things that they want there. Meg leads the design of our commencement ceremony, so she's already starting to work with seniors on what they want that to look like. So now it's like, boom, we know a few kids that are really invested in what their commencement ceremony looks like. That gives us a few great kids to reach out to. That works on the staff side too. So as we're working on our strategic efforts, if we see staff submitting new ideas around how we grade or the courses we offer or our technology, they then become kind of great people to invite into those efforts. And then there's just the quick win of like, hey, this could make our school better tomorrow. Let's do it. Let's get to those sidewalks that aren't getting shoveled as well, or more hand sanitizer or whatever it might be. That's the culture that we want. And we envision like maybe an always on type button of Eagle Voice someday. So those are all things that that were all different ways that we utilize this one strategy of Eagle Voice.
Great. Okay, so I will just kind of wrap up chip voting, and then I have a couple other comments. So chip voting, right now, you've been given 10 chips to allocate across the ideas. And right now we set the maximum for one idea at 3 chips. So you can spend up to 3 chips on an idea. But before you really sort of finalize your chips, a couple comments I would make. It looks like we have 8 ideas, unless there's more coming in. What I would encourage you guys to do is read through some of the ideas, and you can imagine that adding more detail to an idea in a longer time frame, not maybe like tonight's event, but will really sort of bolster an idea and get people to sort of rally around it. If I submit an idea and I have links to outside resources, or let's say I'm a student, I say, hey, I have a friend who goes to this school and this is what they do and this is what it looks like, and here's a link to this. It really can kind of start to help people envision what that idea might look like. So what's really nice about this opportunity is that the more information you might put in an idea, the more it's easier for people to envision what it might look like. You can put links and, like I said, resources. What I challenge you guys to do right now is comment. I think there's some really great ideas in right now. I would just add your comments, add your perspective. It could be a voice of encouragement saying, yes, I agree, this sounds like a great idea. Or it could shed light on your perspective of something. But just practice that commenting feature. I know it sounds simple, but these are actually real ideas that you've put in. And adding your sort of perspective is going to just add a better picture about what that idea means to the EPHS community. And then I think we can sort of wait to maybe give you guys the go ahead to finalize your votes. and we'll go from there. Any other comments on that?
That sounds great, Kristen. I just popped in the chat, maybe 5 or so more minutes. We're still seeing a few ideas coming in. So ideas, comment, chip vote for about 5 minutes. We'll shoot for around 7:40 to look at results. Feels too formal. This is a kind of a sprint in every sense of the word, but I think we'll check those out and then have a little discussion about what will we do with these ideas and what's next for us and what was tonight's experience like for all of you. All right, I'm going to go over to the site now that everyone is seeing. I think, Kristen, you seeing this still? My screen here?
Yeah, I see your screen. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So if you check this out, a good way to see how the votes came through, and as you're looking at other ideas, is just to toggle here in the top right, go to votes, and then you can do it by list, so you can see.
Look at that.
In order of how many chips, which is pretty cool. And so let's just take a second. I think some of you are still chip voting and stuff, so I'll refresh here in a second. But financial preparedness, yes, this actually is a theme that comes to our student event too. And so it's one of those for me where it's like it's come up enough where we've got to kind of recalibrate, because we do have courses on this, and it's just showing us that we're not communicating those courses well enough, or maybe those aren't hitting the preparedness, but there's something more for us to work on there. MAP, yeah, for having it online. We've had some staff ideas around Wayfinder signage too within the building that is helping, but we're still not totally there. Activities fees, awesome. We've really increased our efforts for extracurriculars this year. We've confirmed for what a lot of us have known for a long time, that the more kids are involved in school, the better they do. But some of our internal research over the summer showed that we have nearly 100% graduation rate, over 99% with students that are involved in extracurricular activities. So anything we're doing in that space, club orientation.
These are great. I don't know.
Awesome.
I love seeing this, you guys. Thanks for sharing, and keep the comments coming. Your perspective helps. Anything that resonates or any ideas or insight you want to add. Mm-hmm. Rob, can you show the search feature? So scroll to the top of that page. And then just, it's, when you're dealing with 100 ideas like they're doing with a student event, sometimes you just want to say, I wonder if anybody has put an idea around. And then so you could search for ideas. No flex ideas, financial. I mean, obviously we see that. And then also you can keep track of the ones that you voted on. So if you want to see which ones you voted on, you just click on My Votes, and it will show you where you've allocated your chips. So that's kind of nice to see that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't allocate any chips, so
not yet.
You don't see that for me.
Yeah.
But cool. I love these. There's like all of these. I feel like, yes, we should do that. That's great.
Right.
Some of them are like, totally, I should have thought of that.
Look at the chips went up on financial preparedness. We got more chips there.
It's like there is a part of that each year with this. Each time we do this, or not each year, like literally every time we log in, of where I do feel a little bit like, why didn't I think of that? Where it is a humbling experience every morning, where it's like, yep, that's something I should have thought of. But I'm glad we, even if we should have got to it before, I'm glad we get to it eventually. So thanks for popping these in there. I'm going to go back to our presentation, and you can keep playing in the site. Feel free to, if you don't mind, put in our chat here. We had 2 areas to follow up on to conclude our presentation tonight. And the first one is, what we want to know what this experience was like for you and how we could improve it. We started with staff 4 years ago. We've added students. This is our first night doing something with parents. Wondering, what do you think? Do we do another sprint like this? Do we leave things open? What else might you want to see in this with question one? And then I'll take up question two here in just a minute or two. But if you have any ideas around question one, feel free to go ahead and just pop those into the chat. Yeah, so an idea around the sprint method, that's something we really like too. We find sometimes that the longer things go on, the longer they go on. And we try to live by that design thinking tenet of bias toward action. So but this participant said, hey, like the sprint method, but also it's hard to get registered, listen to what we were saying, and think of ideas and be creative and communicate them in a concise way while whatever else is going on in their home is going on tonight too. So definitely hear that. I wonder if there's a both and there around a sprint and then maybe some always on stuff too.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, and I kind of like this both and of like, the sprint and then maybe a limited follow-up to that. Around maybe we have it open for a few days afterward to allow people, you'll come up with a new idea tomorrow, driving wherever you're supposed to be, and it just takes a little bit of time for things to incubate. So cool ideas. Give another minute or two on question one there of any ideas you might have around this experience and what we could do to improve it. If you have any more thoughts on one, or if you're typing something up, please continue to put that in. See one coming through. Love the real way to participate rather than watching a tutorial. I think that helps us remember the process. Hope something like that being used with students too. It's a good point, Kendra. We haven't done that with students yet live in classrooms. Our plan is to give them, they will get space in their, after term one is done. We've got about 7 school days, I think, of term 2 before the ideas close. And each student in one of their classes will have time in that class to submit ideas. So I like that idea. Instead of me doing a video recording, have teachers really walk through and create and submit. Cool. Something on the student end to mention with that too is students can submit ideas under 3 different alias. The first one is they can submit as themselves. They can just put in their name and say, I'm Rob submitting this idea. Another one is they can submit anonymously. And we administratively on the back side of the site can see that, but to their peers, nobody else can see that. And then the third way is they can submit as a group. So if there's a group of students working on something, they can do that. That's an added feature this year that a lot of our kids have liked, because like all of us, we have like half of an idea and then we talk to somebody and it turns into a new idea, and then talk to somebody else and it turns into an even better idea. And so in that scenario, the 3 students could submit together. Some of our students do like the anonymous ideas as well, particularly for some of our more sensitive topics. So we like to make that available to them. Our next steps for the ideas, shared here. I like Kendra's idea of providing a little bit more space for these to play out. I also, the ideas shared here is really similar, to our student and staff events. Of what we'll do with these is, the beauty of this is now we have these ideas and we also have, who submitted them. So just because you submitted them doesn't mean you have to sign up for a bunch of committees now. But it does mean that, hey, we know a little bit about that. And we know that might be of interest to our parents and for our folks working on that, like our College and Career Center or like our counseling office. We might reach out to learn more about that, or we might be able to wrap that right in there. We also think about, back to this, what I try to back us up with Eagle Voice often is, as much as I love the technical parts of this and I could go crazy with, all the facets of it, it's really about, if you think back to the why of Eagle Voice, it's really ideas are just one part of it. That a lot of this is around the culture and the connections that we want to have for engagement and innovation. So that's really what EP Connects is too. So if you have ideas around another way we could get, folks to join EP Connects or topics or modalities for that, we want to have that, because that's what we want at the end of the day, whether it's through Eagle Voice or through EP Connects or anything else we do. So we want our families to feel like they know what's going on here, that we know who Victor is, we know who Meg is, we know who Rob is, we know the rest of the leadership team, we know what they're about, we know what the school's up to, and we're able to contribute to it. And that school, we're always trying to do better, and like change is what should be expected here. And we're going to always kind of push us to get a little bit better each day, and that you can be part of that. That's the school we're after. And we think, and I know Eagle Voice has been a big part of our culture over the last few years with that. So I think we're just scratching the surface with our parent side of this. So to conclude, it would be a huge thanks for jumping into a little bit of the unknown with us tonight. Another call to action would be remind your kids to either join me in the collab tomorrow for the guiding team or to submit ideas between now and Thanksgiving break. Let them know that you tried out this platform. It's really not too big and scary, and that they should bring their ideas forward, because I'm confident that each of our kids has at least one idea that would help our school become a better place. And as Kristen mentions, of course, there's this super sweet t-shirt waiting for him tomorrow during flex time. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, have a great night and connect with us at any time. Thank you much.